What is up everyone and welcome to another Munch Top 10. Last month I discussed 10 Pokemon that I believe do not deserve their title of legendary, and y'all seem to really enjoy the video, so today we're gonna turn the tables and talk about 10 regular Pokemon that I believe are closer than most to achieving legendary status. And just to be clear, I don't mean in terms of stats, so don't expect any pseudo-legendaries like Metagross or Dragonite to appear on this list. I'm talking Pokemon rarely found in the wild, with fabled reputations appearing in myths and stories of their region, and even worshipped by some. Although they may not all possess the power typical of legendaries, these Pokemon are well known for their mysterious Pokédex entries and notable appearances in the anime movies. If that's piqued your interest to find out who these Pokemon could be, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already for more Pokemon videos every week, because we're jumping right into it with Rotom. In almost every video I've seen on this topic, most people seem to agree Rotom should have been a legendary. Its debut appearance in Gen 4 made it seem quite special, as there was only one Rotom obtainable in the games, locked inside a flickering TV in the creepy old chateau. When encountered, it even played the legendary battle music, which is, to date, the only time a non-legendary Pokemon has done this. Whether it was a mistake or Rotom really was meant to be a legendary, I suppose we'll never know. But we can certainly say Rotom has lost some of its mystique over the years, nowadays becoming somewhat of a meme in the Pokemon world, with the Rotom Dex introduced in Sun and Moon being one of the most annoying little funniest characters ever. Hey! In Galar we got the Rotom Bike and even Rotom Phone, making this little poltergeist not quite as elusive as it used to be, which is why it's just barely making the list at number 10. Next up we have Volcarona, another Pokemon I'm certain I can't be the only one who thought was actually a legendary when it was first introduced. Not only was Volcarona one of a kind in black and white, but also had its own special room in the Relic Castle where it kinda just stood there, looking all important. The Pokédex says ancient murals depicted Volcarona as a deity of fire, and some people still hang up scrolls of it in their homes like they worship it. I've always seen Volcarona as somewhat of a counterpart to Heatran, since they're both big fire creatures related to volcanoes, but the main thing holding Mothra back is of course its little pre-evolution. If not for Larvesta, I think Volcarona definitely fits the look and feel of a legendary Pokemon, and even has the stats to back it up with a base total that ties with Urshifu, who I'm still not convinced should be legendary, but since it is, I think it's only fair Volcarona deserves it too. Zoroark, the first Generation 5 Pokemon ever revealed over 10 years ago, but it feels like yesterday. I, alongside many Poketubers at the time, speculated on what this silhouette could be. A new form for Lucario? An evolution of Mightyena? Nope, it's just Pokemon's version of Shadow the Hedgehog. This hype reveal, along with the fact Zoroark was set to star in the next movie, made it feel more important than most regular Pokemon. See, up until then, Lucario had been the only non-legendary to have its name in the title of a movie. Granted, Mew was also part of it, which makes Zoroark really stand out as the only Pokemon with its own movie that isn't a legendary. In the games, we mainly know Zoroark from N, the most beautiful, kind, sweet man in the whole Pokemon universe, and what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Black and White made it seem like the only Zoroark in existence was the one trained by N, but in more recent games it has become quite common, making it stray further away from its once almost legendary status. Moving on from Gen 5, we've got another misunderstood dark type, the emo icon Absol. Although it didn't quite get its own movie, Absol did play a major role in Jirachi Wishmaker, where it was initially thought to be evil by Ash and friends, but they eventually realized Absol was just trying to help Jirachi get back home. This is pretty similar to its Pokédex entries, which talk about how Absol senses coming disasters with its horn, and appears before people to warn them of the impending danger, which led many to believe Absol was in fact the one bringing the disasters, and so it was mistaken as a Doombringer. While it's not exactly the rarest Pokemon, the myths surrounding its ominous existence and its unique design make Absol feel like it could be special enough to be a legendary, especially considering it has no other evolution or pre-evolutions. Regardless, it makes an awesome partner for anyone living in dangerous areas so you can get away from any potential disaster before it happens. Unless your Absol gets confused and it was actually just your mother-in-law coming to visit that it thought was disaster and then you ran away for nothing. Maybe disaster really was coming. Thank you, Absol. Here we have another one of those Pokemon that on first sight you might have assumed was a legendary, or at least more special than most with its distinct appearance and overall rarity, since there's usually only one available per region. I'm talking of course about Spiritomb, who in its debut had probably the most obscure way of obtaining any Pokemon. After inserting the odd keystone into the Hallow Tower, you had to go into the underground and talk to 32 real-life players. Why 32? I have no idea, dude, and I can't seem to find anything about it online either, so if one of you knows, tell me in the comments, cause I'm really curious. And what is up with the 108 spirits that are constantly mentioned in its Pokédex entries? Could Spiritomb actually be the ghost of 108 angry accountants? Thing sure seems to be obsessed with numbers. More recently, you might recall Spiritomb from the Crown Tundra DLC, where I'm really happy they referenced the original method of catching it by having you interact with 32 players in the wild area before Spiritomb would appear. It might not be the most powerful ghost type out there, but its sheer obscurity makes it a great candidate to be considered legendary. Now, you know I had to include one of my favorite Pokemon of all time on the list, but I swear it's not just personal bias. Ninetales, like many of the other Pokemon in this video, has been the center of many legends about its existence. It should be no surprise seeing as it's based on the Kitsune of Japanese folklore, which were supernatural foxes that could breathe fire and shapeshift into humans. Early Pokédex entries claim Ninetales was actually created when 9 noble saints were united and reincarnated as one Pokemon. Now that's some biblical right there. And let's not forget its Alolan counterpart, which also has some divine origins, being revered as an incarnation of the Snowy Mountains deity. Based on these descriptions alone, you would think Ninetales is some kind of super special, awesome, mythical Pokemon. But obviously it isn't. In fact, Vulpix are pretty common, and Firestones can be bought at your local Walmart, so it can't be that special, right? Let's make this a 2-for-1 special with an honorable mention, since it is like the other fire counterpart of Ninetales in Gen 1. We have the legendary Pokemon Arcanine. And I mean legendary as in its species name, like how Pikachu is the mouse Pokemon. Arcanine is literally known as the legendary Pokemon. Fans of the original Pokemon anime won't question its legendary status, as Arcanine appeared alongside the legendary birds on a tablet, leading many to believe it was part of the grouping. Kinda weird since there's already another fire type up there with Moltres, and they're all birds and one's like a dog, but aside from that, Arcanine actually has one of the highest base stats of any non-legendary or Mega Evolved Pokemon, making it a decent candidate to be considered truly legendary. If only it wasn't for that little runt of a pre-evolution. As I walk through the Valley of the Shadow of Death, I take a look at my team and realize there's a Darkrai. Hey, who turned off the lights? You might be confused why Darkrai is on this list, but it is technically considered a mythical Pokemon, not legendary. But why exactly? It's a direct counterpart of Cresselia, and together they form the Lunar Duo, the only legendary duo as far as I know that mixes a legendary and mythical Pokemon. Which begs the question, what exactly makes Darkrai mythical? The internet seems to agree that it's just the fact you can only obtain it through an event, and not actually in-game. But I would love if the remakes changed this and gave Darkrai a true in-game story that doesn't involve me going to McDonald's or using cheat codes to obtain it. If you didn't know, that was a real thing with Hoopa. You had to go to McDonald's to get it. So dumb. The Pokédex says Darkrai can make people see horrific nightmares, and we get a glimpse of this in Canalave City, where a little boy is seemingly being tormented by the pitch black nightmare. How awesome would it be if we can somehow visit this shadow realm of Darkrai and take him on? Would this change its category from mythical to legendary? I don't know. But this Pokemon and its lore are way too cool to have it just be distributed through mystery gift or whatever, so I'd love for it to get more of a spotlight in the upcoming remakes. We're down to the final 3, and for our next not so legendary, we've got the alphabet soup known as Unknown. Known? Or is it unknown? Known as? Yet another Pokemon I wouldn't be shocked to hear some people may have thought were legendary, as they were featured in the third Pokemon movie, which I actually forgot was called Spell of the Unknown. So I guess I lied earlier when I said Lucario was the first non-legendary to be named in a movie title, but Entei is also part of it. So anyway, Unknown are extremely rare Pokemon said to live in their own dimension, but sometimes they venture out to the regular world, as we've seen them in the Ruins of Alph and Solaceon Town. That alone should put them in a category of their own. Or maybe up there with the Ultra Beast, which aren't exactly legendary, but Unknown also played a key role in the Arceus event of Heart Gold Soul Silver, where they transport the player to Sinjoh Ruins and help God himself create Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina in one of the trippiest cutscenes I've ever seen in any game, let alone Pokemon. Could Unknown actually be the basis of all life in the Pokemon world? I honestly have no idea what to think after witnessing that. But considering just how many Unknown and forms of it are in existence, it makes sense why they're not legendary, but they are definitely quite special. As with every Munch Top 10, you know I had to throw an oddball in the mix, and today we've got the Snoop Dragon Drampa. Not only does it look like the D.O. double legend, but it acts like one too. According to the Pokedex, Drampa appears in towns and protects its children when they're in danger, so their moms don't have to worry. What a nice guy. This is 100% real Pokedex entry, by the way. I don't know if I would really feel safe letting my kids chill with the never-ending dragon, especially since the Pokedex also states that when angered, Drampa will stir up a gale and flatten everything around it. Yeah, sounds like a great babysitter to me. With its unique type combination and interesting lore, plus being considered pretty rare in the wild, I think Drampa is a perfect candidate to get bumped up to legendary status. If you've ever seen a Drampa fly, that is definitely the stuff of legends. Stay high. And to wrap things up, I will once again question what exactly separates a legendary Pokemon from those considered mythical. With Darkrai, we established mythical Pokemon are ones obtained only through events, but that's the boring real-world definition. What about the in-universe explanation? Could it be that legendary Pokemon are indeed rare, but most people in the world at least acknowledge their existence and may have even seen one roaming the skies, like the many Lugia that have appeared in the anime, versus mythical Pokemon, which, as the name implies, are basically myths and people might not believe they even exist. So explain to me how Genesect is considered mythical when it was manufactured in a lab by Team Plasma. In fact, I think they made a couple of them and even a shiny one, so is it really rare enough to be considered mythical? In my opinion, it should be on the same level as Mewtwo or Type Null, which I'm still not too sure I consider a legendary myself, but they are all considered man-made Pokemon that are certainly rare. There's not many of them in existence. And I guess being mythical does separate Genesect from the rest of them, but should it really be? When we all know Genesect is really just Kabutops with a couple Lego pieces attached to it, you don't deserve to be mythical, you weird bug-eyed metal freak. Jeez, I don't know why I took it so personal against Genesect at the end there. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, support your boy, and stay tuned for more coming up in the future. Are there any other Pokemon you think should be legendary? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one.